Today we're doing the Rags to Riches in The Sims 3, but it's not your ordinary Rags to Riches. We're going to be spinning the wheel every time we reach 100 simoleons until the wheel is done. And after that, we will spin the wheel every 1000 simoleons. There's lots of challenges and it's gonna get crazy. We're also using the Ambitions pack to make it a Rags to Invention, so we're gonna try to be the richest inventor in the world. So yeah, strap in because it got crazy and quite disastrous, if I'm honest. We're back in the beautiful city of Twinbrook, and of course we're creating a new sim. New proud member of Simbrosia family, this is Clinic Simbrosia. He's like a 12th cousin from Catalina's side or something, I don't know, but he looks a little bit scruffy because this is Rags to Riches after all. So Kleenex is gonna be an inventor, that's the whole point of this challenge really, it's to do Rags to Riches with inventions in mind. So we have chose a few different traits that would work with that. So we have eccentric, genius, also loved out the outdoors because I feel with the Rags to Riches there's going to be tons of outdoors activities. We also went for a slob because in Rags to Riches there's always dirt somewhere, so that's just gonna make our sim less angry that they're filthy. And of course mooch, because we're gonna mooch money and food out of people, because why not? For the actual lifetime wish, I went with swimming in cash, which has us have 50,000 simoleons, which is the richest. This is the richest goal. Essentially, I want to reach the 50,000 simoleons in our bank account. So we'll see how that goes. So for our house, I was looking for empty plot of land, but I was not having much luck with it. So I just bought a house and my goal was to demolish it. But again, I forgot that I'm playing Sims 3, so you can't just demolish the house while you're on the plot, which is kind of annoying. It took quite a bit of fiddling, but I finally got rid of the house, got Kleenex, moved into the empty plot of land, and I put his money to 0. Now the challenge starts. I decided the first thing that I should do is to make some money, of course, because that's the point of it. So we went for fishing, because we were just by the lake and you can just sell the fish. When it comes to bathroom and other things, I know some people don't do those kind of challenges where you can go to the gym to wash up and stuff, but there isn't really a way to do this as far as I saw in the wild in The Sims 3 Ambitions anyway. As such, I had to go to the gym to get rid of the bladder issues and of course the hygiene. Which again, hygiene is not the biggest issue we have because our sim is a slob, so that's always good. I was then scouring the town trying to find somewhere where we could like get some food or get some stuff to make money, and then I realized that there is a actual store that we can buy some tomatoes at to plant, but also apples to eat. So that was a good first option, though it's not that good when it comes to the price because it's like 6 simoleons for one item and you don't even get fully filled up, so it's not the best, but it was a start. I went back to my house and got one of the tomatoes planted, but since there was nothing else to do, I decided to have a look and go to the junkyard, which is going to be a place we're going to visit a lot to get scrap once we have the table to actually do inventions, which is going to take a while because it's quite expensive. However, the cool thing they have, you can salvage items. I don't know how to kind of restore them, so I just decided to leave them for now. But the cool thing is they have a fridge, so you can have a quick snack, so that's always good. We had no bed, so we ended up sleeping in the park or just on a bench, which is always something. And then I realized that there's some bins which we can actually rummage through and get some cool stuff. So that's what we did. We just looked through the bins and we actually got awesome stuff. So bed, which we really needed, and the sofa. That's honestly, that was a great find. We also have a lamp, which is always good. We know light is good. And then our little plant is growing. How nice is that? Unfortunately, the workbench that we need for the invention part of this Rags to Inventions is 1,250 simoleons, which is a long time away. But yeah, we have our first plant, so it's only going up from here. We're going to make lots of bucks from right now on. I promise. I hope so anyway. The spelliness was becoming a bit of an issue. Again, our sim didn't really mind. However, it's very hard to get anything like the basins or anything in without the walls, which is kind of annoying. You could do that standalone in Sims 4, but in Sims 3, it's not as easy, unfortunately. So as we were sleeping, we got an opportunity. So the supermarket is looking to pay local fishermen to supply the fish for their first matey fresh fish grills and scales selections. Catch 3 fish and sell them at the supermarket to earn some easy money. So that's a cool thing about Sims 3 that I really like, is that you actually do get like opportunities based on what you do in the game itself. So that still is very, very cool. One of my favorite features on Sims 3, because it does really allow you to do what you want, and you still, the sim seems like the game is reacting to it, so I really like that. But anyway, it's time to fish. But first, I decided to cheekily go to the junkyard to, you know, relieve our bladder, clean ourselves up a little bit, and then we went back home to fish. And because we are prime fishermen, it didn't take us too long to catch all 3 fish, which we then delivered for a grand sum of 280 simoleons, which is a very good price, but you know what that means. We got to spin the wheel! Twice, actually. So first one is to get a makeover, and what we're gonna do here is every time we do something, we just take it off the wheel so that eventually the wheel will be gone. So get the makeover, that's the first one, and you can just do that by going to Stylist, so that's an easy one, though we have to use our money, unfortunately, to do this. Then the second spin, and we have to get into the fight. Bruh, that should be easy as well. We are rough, we are strong, we're gonna beat anyone who goes into our way. Well, we'll basically have to go and find an enemy, but we can do this, I believe in us. So let's go to the makeover first, and we look dashing, though the people behind us thinks we stink. But it could be just because we actually stink, who knows. Anyway, now it's time to do a fight, and you know what? I decided the first person to fight with is the guy that stylized us. You know, maybe we don't fully like it. What the hell, guy? I want to look 100% dashing, I only look 80% dashing. This is freaking annoying. So yeah, we fought and unfortunately we lost. But it's our first fight, to be fair. After a fight, we went to the gym for a quick refresh to wipe the blood off our face. And then I went to a scrapyard for chicky meal and decided, you know what, it's time, since we have money, to get ourselves some luxury, which I decided is a fridge. So I've sold the lamp because it's not that dark when you're outside in The Sims 3 anyway. And I got myself a normal fridge. We can't make any meals because we don't have a working kitchen, but we can at least get quick meals, which actually are not as bad here as they are in Sims 4, so that's good. Since the fridge costs basically all of our money, I decided to fish a little bit more, and actually we moved to a fishing spot closer to the shop so we can just go straight in and sell the fish, so that was a good idea. Then I did some late night dumpster diving, because why not? Then I realized that we actually crossed 100 simoleons again, so I had to spin the wheel. And spinning the wheel, it seems it is making an enemy, which is not that bad. However, at this point, Kleenex was a little bit tired, hungry, stinky, so I decided to go home and tackle the challenge in the morning. After a quick breakfast, I fished the whole day and then went to sell the fish. And then we crossed the threshold again. Once again, we went past 100 simoleons, which means another spin of the wheel. And what is gonna be? What is it going to be? Oh no. Oh no. Use all the money on a statue. So all the money we have, gone. So it seems that using all of your money on a statue isn't as easy as I thought, because things are very expensive in The Sims 3, it turns out. So we got this like divider thing or partition, and then I just bought like the flamingo ones. I spent almost all money, 3 simoleons, but I think we can forgive that because there's nothing for 3 simoleons when it comes to like statues, so I think that's fine. But yeah, it was such a shame. We just got the money. Anyway, it was time to make an enemy, which, you know what, it's a good time to make an enemy because if I was Kleenex, I would be mad too, spending all money on flamingos while he is struggling quite badly. He doesn't even have his own shower. But yeah, we managed to realistically do this, and we even made him soil himself. We're so evil. At least our house, quote unquote, looks fancy now. Oh my god, those flamingos. Why? Anyways, thanks to fishing and stuff, and our original plant doing quite well, I managed to have more stuff to plant, which was interesting. You can fish such a random stuff, but still fishing was our main source of income, and fishing around these parts just seemed to be better just near the shop, because that gives us quick access to the shop, so that was the best option. However, we earned again above 100 simoleons, so what that means, another spin of the wheel, and this one is make a friend. That's gonna be easy, right? Most of our days were just fishing, but we also did some gardening, and look, our gardening started to look good. I'm not gonna lie, it started to look good, and we started to really see volume of vegetables come through, so that means food, which is awesome. Now, it turns out that making friends in The Sims 3 is not as easy as I thought, so it took us a while to get someone that I could chat with. I went to the gym, to be fair. Maybe it wasn't the best place, but I just couldn't get anyone past acquaintance. Maybe it was my stinkiness, but it was difficult. Anyway, and we got back home and we worked on our garden, which honestly, I don't know if it's something that was patched with the expansions or is my sim just better at gardening, but it seems like doing gardening doesn't take as long as I remember it taking back in when I was playing vanilla Sims 3. But either our Kleenex now can eat his own tomatoes, which is awesome. I decided then it's time to go back to the gym because it is the social place. Let's be honest, this is where all the cool kids hang around. And honestly, it took so long, but I finally found a friend, Nick, an old guy who just likes us. You know, we had lots of cool conversations, but ultimately my stinkiness and my tiredness won, and I had to get a shower and go home. But finally, Kleenex has a friend. You know, there's so much you can say about fishing and gardening, but that's mostly what we were doing. But then we hit another 100 simoleons, and it's time to spin the wheel. Okay, getting a tattoo. That is interesting. I haven't had a tattoo in The Sims 3 previously. Not like in a tattoo parlor anyway, because you can do it when you create the sim, but you can actually go and get a tattoo from tattoo parlor, which is kind of cool idea. Without further ado, let's do it. So I was saying that it's here where we got our makeover, but I couldn't find it, but then realized it was downstairs. So I got this dude, I didn't know if he was a tattoo artist, but I got him to tattoo us. And I had fun with this. So doing the different layers really makes you really customize and make it to your own. And it's a silly one, but I did like it. He looks awesome now. And since, you know, we don't actually have a proper t-shirt, you can see the tattoo always. How cool is that? We did lose some money for that, but it was worth it. But anyway, we got back to our place, had a little snack, and then went to sleep. And our garden was looking very good. We were getting better and better tomatoes. But fish, it's where it's at. This is the money maker. Even though this was meant to be all about inventions, it's just impossible to get there yet. However, opportunity knocked to our doors, and I wouldn't say no. Because what it says is that we need to unclog pipes at the city hall, and rewards is simoleons and fish, so I presume it's filled with fish. But you know what? I don't care. I will do the job, because no job is shameful. And then, once we actually got that done, And we got 500 smackaroos. 500. I was very happy about this because it's almost halfway to our table, but it means a lot of spins. A lot of spins. However, when I got to the wheel, I realized we actually don't have 5 spins left. So we just went with the ones we had. So the first one was to buy a book, which again, we can do. There's a few cool books that we can get. I'm not opposed to that. And the second one was spend all money on fruit and veg. So we had 500 buckaroos, but they're all gone. They're only going to be spent on veggies, which is great. And then last one is, well, there's only one option. Go to restaurants for an expensive meal. So again, at least we'll get something out of it, but we have to spend money on fruit and veg first. So that's great. That's great. Well, with the book, I decided to just go with the book about inventions because that's ultimately the goal. I promise that's what I'm aiming towards to. And then I just went in and bought as many veggies as I could. My goal was to spend all the money on veggies. Every single bit that we had. I even went back and got an apple just to spend the last 6. So we went back to big fat 0. My gosh. I went back home and I realized I still have some fish in my inventory. I decided just sell them from the inventory because there weren't that many of them. And then decided to plant some vegetables. So I had lots of different stuff. Potatoes, watermelons, peppers, onions, so many cool stuff. And it turned out that I couldn't plant any of them. So I just put them back into my inventory. So give me lots of food at least. You know, that's always something. Woke up the next day to a hearty meal full of apples, grapes, and a raw onion. Because why not? Who doesn't love a boy that eats red raw onions? Either or, we were free from the wheel, so that was a good thing. We're not gonna have another wheel until we reach 1,000 simoleons. So right now it's a free reign. Finally, we're free for a bit. So yeah, I went back to fishing, of course, but then we got a call about delivering some nice or better tomatoes to a local restaurant. So I had to have 3. I had lots of tomatoes on me, but none of them were great quality. I still accepted this because, who knows, maybe we can get it quickly. And it turned out that yes, next day when we picked up our tomatoes, it seems that they were great quality. So I could immediately go and deliver them after I tend my garden because it takes a while. By the way, we at this point we already had the money for showers, so that's what I have here. I implemented it. We don't have to go to the gym every time, thankfully. Still don't have a toilet, so sometimes we do. Anyway, I went, delivered the tomatoes, and then afterwards I was like, let's do the last wheel challenge and get the meal, but unfortunately I think it was too late, so I decided to do it the next day. Since the opportunity gave me quite a bit of money, I was able to get a toilet. How exciting is that? We finally have our own state-of-the-art, or just like normal toilet. You do have to implement a wall in order to have a toilet, which is kind of annoying, but I guess the goal is to have a house eventually. So yeah, we have a toilet now. Exciting. And our money was going just up and up and up. Without the pesky challenges, it was so much easier to make money. Anyway, it was time to go to restaurant. Kleenex's first premium meal. He's gonna love it. But then, shock and horror, food arrived, but it wasn't what we ordered. So you know what? I think Kleenex is one of those people that would send it back. They're like, bro, that's not what I ordered. I'm on a tight budget here. I don't even have a house. Give me what I ordered, bro. Thankfully, the waitress apologizes and brings us the correct meal. Thank God. And she gives us a little wink and tells us we're dining for free. Oh my God, everything is going the Kleenex way. Hell yeah. Being fully satisfied with my meal, I had Kleenex talk to some people outside of the restaurant because his social need is a little bit low, living alone in a swamp. being stinky all the time. People don't really want to talk to him. So since he was in a good stature, in a nice little clothes, he managed to have some nice conversation with Sims. But it's not. He doesn't have time to be so social. He needs to work so that we can become the greatest inventor of all time. However, it was difficult because at this point, gardening kind of took over our life. There's so much stuff we had to do with our garden, and selling the veggies did help quite a bit. However, the fish was still the moneymaker. I decided also, you know what, let's do dumpster diving. We haven't done that for a while. We got like a table out of it, and actually a box of Kleenexes, which is kind of funny. Money was rolling. Hell yeah. 729 simoleons were going up. Another opportunity. Now it's to attend fishing competition at the supermarket before times run out to catch assortment of fish. We like fishing, we need fish, and you can also get simoleons with this. To me, that sounded like a perfect plan, so of course we went. Sadly, though, we gave it all we could, but fish just weren't biting quite enough for us today. You didn't earn the grand prize, but you did walk away with the 2 fish that you did manage to catch. I mean, you know what? Fish is fish. It's fine. After that failure, our social need was very low, so we of course went and talked to this random lady on the street at 11 p.m. And we talked all the way till 1, and we still were just acquaintances. She was clearly not enjoying it, but we at least got our needs up, so that's good. We were getting close to the amount that we needed for the workbench, which was 1,250. We're currently at 842, so we're not that far away, but we're still a bit away before we can start inventing. Not even talking about being rich because of inventions. Oh gosh. Our plants were starting to die, but that's happened with The Sims 3, after a while. The plants just die after you took out so many fruits from them, so I decided to plant more. Which I don't know if that was a great idea, but you know what? If we're in the tomato business, let's do it. And there's also apple trees, They were excellent apples, to be fair, so it wasn't the worst investment ever, but do we really want to be a gardener for the rest of our lives? No, but it is a start. So yeah, we fished our days away. At night we went to sell things into the shop because apparently shops are open 24/7. And then we hit our first 1,000 buckaroonies. And yeah, we're gonna spin a new wheel. And this wheel is a big one. There is quite a few stuff here. But the first spin was kind of fruitless because it was do nothing. You know what? That's fine because we need to save our money. I could almost taste the oily, metally flavor of the workbench table. I knew that we will get it anytime soon. And not long after, we sold some of the tomatoes, some fish, and we got to 245 simoleons, which was very, very close, but it wasn't quite there. But then I realized I have 1 fish left. So we sold it and we finally had our workbench table. Yes, finally. It only took a few hours, but we got there. After a good night's sleep, we finally go on to our workbench table and we created the first thing. Throw safety goggles to the wind and harness the power of invention. A brilliant mind and blowtorch can turn yesterday's scrap into tomorrow's must-have life improvement gadget. Who knows what the next big discovery or explosion will yield. Oh my gosh, amazing. So yeah, we started to create stuff, and yeah, that meant we start going to the junkyard, like properly now, not just for food. Kleenex gathered some scrap, and then we got him back home so he can shower with all the dirt from the scrapyard, have a little snooze, and then can start another day inventing. I was so excited to do that. Look at him go, he's so cute inventing. And the first thing he made was worth 1,000 bucks. Oh my god, that's crazy. I didn't want to immediately sell it because first of all, I didn't want to do another challenge yet, plus there was something that you guys told me about that I wanted to try. But we kept inventing, and yeah, some of his other things were not as expensive, but it was still cool that we could make you know, something so expensive so quickly. That was gonna really blast us through the Rags to Riches challenge. I had good feelings about this. On the next day, I decided to harvest some of our stuff. I was like, you know, we're gonna be done with gardening, but we might as well harvest, and we had like over 80 tomatoes, which is not bad. And we did some inventing again, and that was also giving us a lot of aspiration points, because he was an inventor, he was an inventive mind, so most of his aspirations, his needs, wants, wits, whatever they call them here, were about invention, so it was really working for our advantage. But instead of just selling this through inventory, I was told that you have those shops where you can sell stuff to, and everybody was saying that that's how you make money as an inventor, because you can sell the money or the things for better prices. That's what I was being told, so I decided to try it out. Well, it wasn't necessarily super good pricing here. However, I was able to sell my Thrall Hygienator and my Smashers for good price, and some tomatoes as well. However, I couldn't sell that little metal goblin thing that I made for 1000 buckaroos, which was a kind of a shame. We did, however, pass 1000 simoleons because I decided to just sell it through the inventory since I couldn't sell it any other way. So we had to spin the wheel. I did forget to record it, so you just have to believe me on the screenshot that it's to get a makeover. We went there straight away, and I decided to go for Stylist makeover because we're now rolling in cash. We can afford this. Hell yeah. And I am looking swazy. Anyway, we went back home, we showered because we have a shower, we went to bed because we have our own bed. This is the life of luxury. That's what I'm talking about. And then, of course, we went to the junkyard because, you know what? Now this is our life. Going to the junkyard, getting some junk so that we can create amazing, super expensive stuff that we can sell and be billionaires. Well, not billionaires, but we're gonna get rich. I was so into inventing. I wanted to just invent. But then, of course, we would catch fire because that's what happens with inventors, you know, we catch fire. I was clicking on the river trying to extinguish stuff, but it wasn't working for some reason. So I was like, okay, well, we do have a shower here, but it was too late. Yes, Kleenex passed away. This is not a joke. This actually happened. We became a ghost. We polluted. I was trying to do anything, but no. We just turned into tombstone. And freaking Green Reaper decided to just chill on our couch, vibe with a book. Yeah. That's literally what happened. I reloaded the game, but no. He was fully dead. There was no going back. Nothing that we could do. He was dead. Oh no. It was my first Rags to Riches in Sims 3, and it did not go as planned. It was fun, I'm not gonna lie. This was a fun challenge. I really enjoyed doing like the fishing and everything. I think it works very well. I, again, love the little random opportunities that come up, and it is difficult. It's not as easy as it is in The Sims 4 for sure. And now we know if we're doing an Inventor, be very, very careful to going on fire and just have a shower just beside you. Even though there was a river there, why could I not just jump there? But anyway, that's what happened. And that's where my challenge in this video is ending. I did really enjoy it. I would like to try it again, and probably with the wheel spin, because it does add extra little flavor to the challenge. Made it very fun for me. It was the most fun I had playing Sims 3 since I played it originally with the, you know, base game with the family. I really like it, so give me some suggestions. What else could we do? Don't worry, we will try different expansions in the future. I really want to do that. But I wanted to try a few different things. So let me know, what else should we do? Should we do another Rags to Riches? And as such, what should we use? Should we do another Inventor, or should we go some kind of strange career, let me know, and subscribe if you like this video. I really enjoyed making it, and yeah, I shall see you next time. Bye!